Welcome to That's What She Said, where we'll spill the tea on women empowerment in the Great Lakes Bay region with your host, Christiana Malacara.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of That's What She Said with me, Christiana Malacara. Every week, we dive deep into a conversation with a woman of the Great Lakes Bay region, and she spills the tea. She spills the tea about women empowerment and what she's doing in the community, how has the community affected her, and how to empower others, but more importantly, how to empower yourself. So from That's What She Said Day to That's What She Said Day, a lot of people have tuned in and also sent emails. We have a lot happening. You can listen to us on podcast format, which is really fun. You can listen to us on Facebook Live, YouTube on a Thursday at 1:30, and then also on the radio waves Saturday morning at 8 a.m. and then Sunday at 6 p.m. I say a lot's happening because we get more feedback now than ever before, which is very exciting. And what that does, to me anyway, is say, hey, you know what? Things are going well. What is next? What is next? So for those who do tune in regularly, you have probably heard me say something along the lines of, I started journaling. I started writing, and let's say journaling, because more or less, the word started out as just writing random thoughts on a piece of paper, and now I actually have a book, a little notebook that I carry around. And then there are random thoughts in this book, and now I graduated to full sentences and paragraphs about reflecting, and so I'm getting there. I am absorbing the advice of the women who sit across from me each week, which I hope you are too. Hopefully with every episode, you're tuning in and saying, you know what, I see that. Or this is part of me. How can I adjust? How can I move through this? What do I need to change? So let's go back to that word change just for a moment here. Change and plans, those things coincide. They are wonderful, but they hurt. And you grow, but sometimes with a little resistance. So as you navigate through your week, think about those two words, planning and changing and planning. How do they coincide in your life? And let me know. I absolutely love getting a message on Facebook or Instagram or an email. So I am going to start our show by welcoming our guest. She is just let's see. Well, she's a very excited person that lights me up when I'm around her. And it just feels like the energy in the room spikes. One of those people that you want in your space. So without further ado, we have Tori Hummelle. Hi, Tori.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Christiana.
Thank you for being on. I appreciate you.
So happy to be here. You have no idea. I wanted to tell you, not to totally bogart right from the jump, but I had this thing in my head of, I just got back from New York and I was on Broadway and I was thinking of Hamilton because the Tonys just happened. And I was thinking of In the Room Where It Happened and that song. And I got to be in the room where it happened when you first brought That's What She Said to all of us as this amazing idea. And I was just so excited and I couldn't have been more behind you, and to see you now, over a year into this.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to finally be on with you. I'm so proud of you. It's huge. And I think you're just doing amazing things. So I got to be in the room where it happened, which is kind of special.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you so much. You really have been there from, I would say day one, but prior to day one, when I was originally, like, hey, I kind of want to do this thing.
Yep.
You were there. You were in that circle, in that conversation. And to have a full-blown studio and producer and a couple awards, behind us now too.
So cool.
Thank you.
You guys deserve all of that. It's just like, it's amazing to see, not from just like, you're talking about change and planning, and to see it from this, this little seed, and now it's this big, beautiful oak tree, and you're adding to the youth community and bringing all these amazing women together. And I couldn't gush more and say how important it is right now. And I think you're just doing amazing things, and I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know about an oak tree. Well, I mean, maybe like a daisy. I don't know.
Or
Maybe
maybe like a I don't want to say a weeping willow, but like a willow because it like encompasses you and it's very
Okay.
like soothing. You can sit under it, gives you shade, but it's also very like dainty and lovely. It's nicely draped.
Okay,
So maybe
okay.
that's the more feminine of the trees. But I also think oaks are strong and mighty and support a lot. So
yeah, I was thinking of just a little daisy in the wind.
well, that's not true, but okay.
Well, Tori, can you share how the community might know you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I grew up in Midland by way of Alberta, Canada, but mostly grew up in Midland, and I live in Bay City now and absolutely adore Bay City. Have definitely become what I consider like Bay City native, but people might see me out and about, probably playing trivia at O's in Auburn, where I'm not that competitive. Wink. But that's typically where you'll find me, or going to Tobacco Marsh, walking around, exploring. But I'm also the business communication specialist for Dow Personal Care. So anybody who was in New York last week would have seen me at our big trade show, New York Suppliers Day. Made a lot of great connections and loved seeing everybody out there talk about energy. First time ever in New York, and I could just have stayed there for forever. So that's probably where you'll find me.
Wow.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm on my porch, and we get those. I live really close to BMOs, and so we get those pedal trolleys that go by, the sunrise pedal trolleys.
That's fun.
So that's our summer activity. Is we get to see how hype each of these groups get.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good word for that.
Yeah, super fun. And we'll try to hype up the ones that are, maybe a little lacking in that energy. We try to give them a woohoo or give some encouragement for their long evening.
Encouragement. That is one word when and you said it. That's one word when I think of you. You're always encouraging, and the position that you're currently in, that is also a giving, a position that you have to put yourself in front of others.
Yeah.
And cheer them on and tell them kind of a little bit of direction too.
Yeah. I'm really grateful because I've been in the position for like 6 months as of Friday. Last Friday has been in it. And a lot of my team was fairly new to their positions, maybe not new to Dow, but new to our positions. And we had a lot of change, a lot of growth, a lot of planning. I'm going to keep referring to that because it's amazing. And I just kept thinking that in my head of how pertinent that is right now. And I can't speak highly enough of the group of people that I work with and the leaders that I work with and how encouraging and inviting they are. And this collaboration that I get to have with them is incredible. And I'm so thankful for that all the time, because I think that having, that give and take and that open forum is really important. And frankly, I work with all women. So it's
wow.
Yeah, it's really special, and it's really cool to be within that space.
Okay, a couple things are coming to me.
Yeah.
One, you're 6 months in.
Yeah.
That's fresh. And this is a big title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you were coming into this, even in the application process, which I'm sure wasn't much far behind the 6 months,
Sure.
Was there ever a time where you're just like, oh, I don't know, let's just see what happens? Or were you like, hey, like, I got this? Like, what was that vibe when, I'm just thinking women are applying for jobs and the titles are, getting more extensive. And, I honestly like to apply for that,
I'm going to be real with you. I just confidence. And of course I think from a really young age, my parents were really great at empowering me to go for it. The worst that happens is no. And I think that I look at anytime I approach a job application or a different position, which I've had many, I've worn a lot of hats in my 16 plus years of adult life. And I've just always approached it of maybe there's some things that I am not the expert at yet. But I'd rather grow into a position and bring what I have to that position and understand that, okay, these are a few key points that I can absolutely do. And I will backtrack a little bit and say that there has been the challenge of I don't have a degree. And that I think perceptions are changing a little bit, I would say even post-COVID. And that people really are looking at skill set. And when you have 16 years of working in different industries, working with different leaders, different teams, I think all of that builds into something that's really important and that you can apply pretty much to anything you're passionate about, right? So you have to look at the skills, take a second, step back and go, okay, I'm looking at this job. I can do that. Maybe I haven't put together, like I said, a trade show fully before, but I've done smaller events. And and hopefully I have the team that I can rely on, and I really did, that can help fill in the gaps. And now that's a new skill I get to put on my resume and say that I've done that. Not that it's not with its challenges, but I've yet to not adapt to a different position. So I'm pretty confident in myself in that, and I'm not going to say that's cocky by any means, because I think we often downplay how much, as women, we try to minimize how amazing we are. And that's something I've really been working on, is just, taking in like all of the feedback that I've gotten, like positive, not discounting that, taking all that in, and also understanding my strengths and really projecting those out to the world and being okay with that, and allowing myself to take up space and try those different spaces, right?
You use the words unmitigated confidence.
Yeah.
What is the definition of that to you?
I think that I like to talk about Alona Mar, the rugby player.
Okay.
She did an interview recently where she said, yeah, I deserve all of this. I worked really hard. And I'm obviously paraphrasing, but there's no world where she didn't work her butt off to get to the Olympics, to, I think she came in second or third in Dancing with the Stars, to move to England and play with a brand new team, all of these things. And she did. And I'm so grateful for women like her that are putting those things out there, because I've often felt that myself of, well, why can't I do that? There's nothing in my past that's told me that I'm going to fail. So why do I keep perpetuating the idea that, why can't I just throw myself out there? Mm-hmm. Let's try it.
Let's try it.
Right. Let's try it. And failure is not so scary to me. And I think,
why do you think that? Why do you think that you're not scared of failure?
Oh, because I've failed a million times. Absolutely. But it's things that you can grow and learn from. I can't remember who said it. Maybe it was Edison, who, has his own things. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't fail. I learned 1,000 ways to not make a light bulb.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Right?
You're right.
Again, paraphrasing, not great at quotes. That's not one of my strong suits.
So that's exactly it. And I'm in my head thinking, there has to be some metaphor, and I'm thinking, I am scared of heights, or I'm scared of the dark, or whatever it might be. Experiencing once, yeah, that's scary. Yeah. But if it happens again and again and again, or you put yourself in a situation, or that you're navigating through that situation, it gets less scary.
Let's be real though. Heights and dark are just self-preservation. That's base biological survival skills.
True. And I'm also thinking, when you said the title of your job, I'm like, whoa, I would never apply for that. And as you're talking about it, saying, I haven't done this yet. Yeah. So the power of yet just exploded right now to me. I haven't done this yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you haven't done it, but you can, you should. Yeah. And if you fail, guess what? You've never done it before.
Exactly.
But now you know.
100%. And I do think that, Dow as a company, or at least within the spheres that I've been in a very short time, really encourages that growth and that diversity in skill set. And they're always presenting opportunities to learn from different people, to learn from different businesses. You're not told to stay in your lane, which I think is really important. Oftentimes you'll see people that have worked for Dow for 17, 20 plus years, and they've never stayed in the role that they're in for more than 2 or 3. which is so impressive to me, because oftentimes that's when I've moved companies or moved jobs, when you hit that ceiling of growth and opportunity. I'm the type of person that I'm ambitious enough that I need to move on or find the next thing, learn something new. So I think that a company like Dow, that's really important to their key functions, is that they're so open to potential growth of people and actually foster that.
So we keep going back to this word growth. And when you initially said it, you said something along the lines of, I'm so confident in myself.
Mhm.
And this confidence is pushing you to grow.
Yeah.
So do you feel that confidence is a tool that women should like almost require of themselves for growth?
I mean, of course, but I think that it doesn't come to us naturally. And that so much of the work that I've done with myself is to make sure that not only am I giving myself the room and the space to both feel negative feelings, to feel self-conscious, but to recognize that those things maybe aren't real, or if they are, how can I fix? Not always fix all the time, but how do we overcome? But also with confidence is who you surround yourself with, is who is building you up. And I had this conversation with we'll call her my bonus daughter. She is going to be 21 in July, and she was having a really hard time in high school because it was COVID. It was very isolating.
Yeah.
She only had, a couple friends that couldn't really see each other. And I kind of came to this realization because I was like, it was really hard, but I had this really amazing base of girlfriends that I had spent, that we've known each other for decades at this point, right? And of course, you meet new people, you add to your group. You are one of them. Mackenzie is one of them. You collect, but it's very purposeful additions to my group. I'm very cautious of who I bring in because we need that positivity amongst each other. We need to build each other up. And I think having that super strong base and that kind of beautiful feedback all the time where it flexes and grows, and also having people that can call you out on your crap.
I'm learning that is more and more important.
Absolutely. The authenticity and the comfort and the confidence that's not going to break our friendship. I got you. You got me. You've never steered me wrong. Or if something comes up, we can have that open communication and conversation. But through that, you have to build that confidence. It doesn't naturally come to us.
So to build, and I'm thinking from the perspective of a listener who's like, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know how to grow. I don't, with someone who does have that low self-esteem and low confidence. And, and low self-esteem can come in many forms.
Oh, sure.
And, again, something I'm learning, that's what she said. I'm constantly learning new things. There can be self-esteem in, self-preservation. It's like, whatever. It's whatever. I'm fine. Kind of, but you're not. Yeah. That mental health. There's, low self-esteem when it comes to body image. That's a whole nother set of,
absolutely.
Unpack that later.
But we'll circle back to that. Yeah, absolutely.
And then there's this self-esteem of, are these the people that I can trust?
Yeah.
And that right there is, knowing who's in your circle and when to kind of scoot them out of your circle.
Which is so uncomfortable, right? Because friends, especially as adults, are hard to come by if you're not super social like we are.
This is true.
And even in this day and age when everything is so phone focused or computer focused. And I by nature I always say I'm an elder millennial. I'm a phone talker. I'm a face-to-face person, and it drives most people nuts because they just want to text, and I totally get that. But I think that connection is really important. I would say, so the thing that I learned is that nobody's, how to do this. So I was bullied a lot and it's not great. But what I did learn from that, and by the time, especially in middle school, and I was kind of the new kid coming in grade 5, and had a weird, very thick Canadian accent, and was this height by the time I was 12. And I was they always say the old soul, right? I liked really weird things that I couldn't really connect with kids. that well of my own age, and I tried, and I'm very social. I love everybody. So the thing is that what's really important is that I understood and I actually listened to my parents for once, because of course you don't at that age.
Of course.
Everybody's going through it. Just be yourself, because it doesn't matter. You're gonna find your tribe the more you are yourself. Don't even it's hard not to question it, but there are things that you like, just own that, even if it's hard, because everybody has the things that they like, that they're scared of, that they're self-conscious of. But that's the only way you're gonna find your people, is just being yourself, having that confidence, and pushing through when RuPaul says your self-saboteur. When your self-saboteur is yelling the loudest, you just go, "Oh, girls, sashay away. We're not doing this."
Ooh, yeah, I like that.
100%.
I really like that. Listen to mom and dad, y'all. Sometimes. But that is really, truly great advice. Be yourself, and your tribe will come to you.
Exactly. You will attract the people that most that's. And my partner Kim, he always says, and he says this to Riley, you're a reflection of the people you surround yourself with. So that's
100%.
100%. So if you are a happy, positive, beautiful person, you'll attract those.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you, Tori. We are taking a quick break, so don't go too far. We will be back with Tori Hummelle, and we're going to talk a little bit about, you know what? I don't know yet. We talked a little bit about the power of yet, and let's dive back into that. So stay tuned, and we'll see you back shortly.
Want to go back into it here?
Okay. You good?
Yeah.
Great.
Am I on?
Yeah. Good. You're doing great.
That's What She Said with Christiana Malacara is back. Now let's spill the tea.
And we are back. Thank you for staying tuned to That's What She Said. We had some pretty hot tea being spilled. There was loads of just advice and empowerment and life experience just in that quick segment we had with Tori Hummelle. So Tori, thank you. Thank you for being here.
I love being here.
Thank you for being open to sharing parts of your story and advice.
Yeah.
And advice. I've always kind of just admired the way that you navigate through life with this whole kind of head up, right? Just okay, it is what it is, and this is what's next. Or it is what it is, I'm not sure what's next, but I got me.
Yeah.
That whole I got me.
I got me. We're good.
We're good. And so in the last segment, we were talking about confidence, and it's confidence in yourself, in your actions, leaning on your friends and having confidence that your circle's tight and they got you.
Yep.
But then also confidence in the workplace.
Yep.
So within all that, what is just, and this is very important for women. So what is one piece of advice that you would, say to a woman who has low confidence? What would you tell her?
Oh, so that's tough. I would say, this is going to sound, it seems so small, but I do this, and I find this often with the boomer generation, and it leads into ours. Nobody told them it's okay to take compliments. And this is so small, and I know this seems really, but it's such a small change you can do that will light you up immediately, is accepting a compliment and saying thank you so much. Because even if you don't believe it, the more that you start to have a positive association with that kind of interaction, it bleeds in.
Yeah.
You can't help it. And just being able to own that bit of information about yourself, a wholly positive thing, which we don't often get all the time. So I always say, I said this to my mother one time, and I said, that people don't say those things without thought behind them. People don't have to be kind. They've taken, especially strangers, have taken a second out of their day to recognize something about you that they really liked and they felt compelled enough to tell a stranger or even your loved one to tell you they appreciate that thing about you or they like that thing about you, whether it's your shoes or your smile or your laugh, like those kind of, even just how well you did it at a task, something like that, right? And so often we go, oh no, I'm not pretty, or
it's fine.
No, you're just saying it's fine. And I'm like, you're discounting that person's energy and the fact that they've made that choice to say that. And that alone is kind of a slap in the face, which I don't think people actually think about.
I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah. Because it is. It's hard to talk to people in general, like especially strangers. But I think if that is one thing that I can say is just start to say thank you and take it in and hold space for that. I'm going to hold space for the lyrics of Defying Gravity, which is, girl, take it in and build up. If you have those moments, that's great. And own it and allow that to fill you up. Because so often we're so hard on ourselves in our daily life. And so while I'm not saying outside validation is the only key, I think that's a really quick, small change that we as women could make. I mean, think about a night out where you've had a couple, right? And you go to the bathroom. Who is the best person on the planet?
That girl in the
bathroom.
That
girl in the bathroom. Be that girl in the bathroom to yourself.
Yeah. You come out of the stall.
And she's
like, ooh, you look so good.
Oh my gosh, who are you with tonight? He's so lucky. She's
I
so
love
lucky.
your lipstick.
Wow, exactly.
Yes, that
so
girl.
That's what we're gonna say. That's the tidbit. Be the girl in the bathroom to yourself.
Okay, I have concluded that's what she said. We have hit our peak.
We're done.
Thank you.
We are the girl in the bathroom.
Be the girl in the bathroom. No, really though.
100%.
Cheer each other on and accept it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Accept it.
That is so important because when you walk out of that bathroom, you feel pretty good about yourself.
Yeah, you're like the rest of your nights. You're like, I'm great. Let's do this.
And then you might look awful, but you feel great.
But you always pass it on too, right? That's the other thing. You feel good. You're gonna pass that on. You're gonna make somebody else's day. And I feel like that's really key. And just even if you're the person who's thinking something about someone, say the compliment. Do it. You never know how much that's going to change somebody's day. Say the thing. It is a huge thing. That is a huge piece of my ethos as a person is say the thing, whether it's something positive, a comment, or if it's like something uncomfortable and you have to address something, just get it out there. Just say the thing and then feel it out.
Before we went into break, you had said something about, this subconscious thought and you're like, hey, hush, I don't want to hear that. Yeah. So a lot of times we have these subconscious thoughts, right?
Sure.
And, even if it's your alarm goes off and your first initial thought is like, just 10 more minutes, that's your subconscious because your body is telling you, nope, we got to go, girl. We got to get this started, grab some coffee, put on your mascara, let's go.
Yeah.
What did you mean when you said, hey, hush, it's your subconscious?
So I have anxiety disorder and have had it, I think really, and we can touch on this later, but really it started when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when I was 16 and all of these kind of things, these big changes happened really fast. And it kind of developed of course you have a massive life change. Some depression came in, anxiety came in. So I was like, oh, am I going to die? I didn't, which is great. Here we are 17 years after that.
Thank you.
Thank you for not dying. You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're so welcome. Here we are. Thank you. Again, support system key to that.
Here we go.
And so I think that when all of that started and very reasonable anxiety initially, obviously you go through a huge life-changing thing like that and then it becomes a daily thing that you have to deal with of, if I go for a walk, am I going to go low? Do I have all these snacks with me? Am I going to be okay? What if I'm by myself? Do I have my cell phone, which we didn't. We had phones, but it wasn't like today where I've got an app and I could share it if I want to. And
you share locations, share all those things.
Absolutely, yeah,
emergency contact.
Exactly.
Didn't do that.
No, they were just little bricks with numbers, which is kind of fun. I would like to go back to that, but all that to say, very real anxieties. But then, even as a teenager, you have those things creep in, and then as a young adult, and understanding how you're navigating life. And we're not navigating life and getting stuck in what that looks like. And it is just, And oftentimes I feel like anxiety starts as very real, normal stresses. And then my particular version is a loop. And then it starts to cycle down and we get more and more in granular and it becomes something about me as a person and something like really deep in that I feel like I'm just stuck, right? So through that, I ended up going to therapy. And I think that what's really important about therapy, and I think that a lot of people, especially now, are so pro therapy. And I love that because what people often mistake about therapy is they're not telling you what to do. They're not fixing things for you. They're giving you the tools to answer these things for yourself.
Yeah.
And to, when you're in those moments, look at your toolbox and go, okay, how do we manage this? How can we fix in this moment? And I'm going to bring up Riley again. She's my angel. I love her so much. She's going to be so embarrassed when I do this. No, she won't. But we were talking even last night about it and how anxiety doesn't go away. It lives in you. You just get better tools to deal with it. And some of those are, I used to joke, a positive self-talk. Or for me, I always have, like, I try to have a person. I'm a talker, as you well know.
Oh, yes, I know.
And I go, as you know, and I go to that person, I go, hey, here's the crazy illogical thing that's happening in my brain. Can we talk about this for a second? And like, you can ping pong with me and we talk this down.
Almost talking you down.
Yes, it's talking me down, but through the fact that they're asking, it's almost like having your little therapist with you. They ask me questions. Okay, well, what is actually the root of this? What's freaking you out? And then oftentimes it's not even close to how you're actually the thing you're freaking out about. It could be, I feel like my life is falling apart. I keep coming to work late. Okay, well, why are you coming to work late? Well, I'm just not sleeping. Girl, because
right. You're doom scrolling and you have that
exactly.
and you
100%.
You staying up Netflix's, all those things. Yeah. So,
and it tends to be something that's manageable, but you got to get to the root cause of it, and making those choices, those conscious choices to make those changes is really hard. But and so anxiety is real, stress is real, absolutely. But it's how you manage it and how you make those changes and commit to that. Like, I'm a 9:30, 10 o'clock bedtime person. I know, I don't know who she is anymore. It's really
millennial.
She old.
So let's go back a little bit here, because you're naming a few things that are in your toolbox that gets you out of this loop.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's open this toolbox.
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
We're in this loop. We're anxiety driven. We're having these health. I don't want to say issues. Maybe that's not the right word, but like,
it's always there.
Yeah. You're having these things happen in your life.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, what are we pulling out of our toolbox today to decompress this or to surface this?
Sure.
Right. Remember when you said someone to talk to?
Yep.
A good friend to talk to.
Mm-hmm. And never feel like you're a burden. That's why you have the tribe you have.
Ooh, do you hear that one?
Mm-hmm.
And then you said, right underneath that would be, therapy, some type of talk therapy.
Yep.
If we do have that privilege to go to a talk therapist, essentially it's for BFF also, but like there's pros and cons to both of those 100%. There.
Yep.
So these are things in the toolbox. Mm-hmm. What else would someone have in their toolbox to get themselves out of that loop?
It's really different for everybody. Like you mentioned, like having like a journal or a notebook, and that's something that I've definitely tried, but I find for me that actually ramps me up to write things down because it's almost too front and center, too real. And so, but for other, I know several other people that journal, get it out, write it down, come back to it later, assess that and go, oh, we were having feelings.
Yeah.
Even finding your journals from when you're like middle school and you're like, oh girl, the world was not ending, but like it felt like it, right? So it's like those are those things that you can have of self-reflection for sure. I definitely am somebody who, like I said, identifying root causes within yourself is really important. And sometimes I will find that distraction helps. It's like the toddler theory. What's one of the best ways to get a toddler to stop freaking out? Give them a distraction.
Yeah.
And it's not a reward necessarily, but it's a distraction. It's something to flip your brain from one side to the other, going, okay, like we're not actually in fight or flight right now. Let's do something. For me, it's cleaning.
Hey, that's a good distraction.
Yeah, 100%.
Let me know next
Because-
time you need to be distracted.
Because it's something I can do that.
Yeah.
It's something I can control that is outside of the chaos in my body. Right? It's something that, okay, well, if I can, if I can organize it's always something insane. It's always like, I'm going to clean out the fridge for the first time in like 3 minutes. It's not normal cleaning. Or like, I need to reorganize my whole closet in color code. But slowly, the methodical process of doing a task like that breaks you out of it. And you're not in fight or flight anymore. It's the distraction. It's a really good way to disconnect.
A healthy distraction.
Yeah, absolutely. And for others, it's I've often found going, I call them mad boy walks. I even have a playlist. Actually, angry boy, actually.
Angry boy walk.
Angry boy walks. So
Okay.
you have a son.
Yeah.
And like when they're just like,
Oh yeah.
they're going into like Super Saiyan mode and
Yeah.
they're about to explode, and you're just like, you need to go outside.
I call it Sonic mode.
Thank you. Exactly. My nephew would love that. He's huge.
I'll let you borrow that one.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
But it's you're about to explode, and it's all of that energy inside of your body. I literally have a playlist on Spotify. It's all just the angriest metal you've ever heard. And you go for a walk, and then all of a sudden I'm coming down, and by like 20 minutes I've switched to like Coheed and Cambria, and then
Nice.
and then we switch to like Incubus, and we
Oh,
bring it down, right?
Okay.
Like it's so it's that kind of thing that I've crafted for myself that works really well, because music is really cathartic to me, and that seems to be a way that I do that. And I'm just getting out, going for a walk, getting that energy out of your body. For some people, that's working out. I'm not my favorite, but
don't ask me to go for a hike.
no,
Please, no.
no, nothing. Flat surfaces are great.
I can do
Love
that.
that. Also, yeah, being conscientious of your limitations or what you want to do in that moment. Forcing yourself to go for a hike is a bad idea when you're having a freak.
So overall, I'm learning more about you
Yeah.
and how you go, what your process is.
Mhm.
But the amazing thing in this conversation is you have a process.
Mhm.
When you're
Many
upset, you
years.
have a process. When you are in need, you have a process. When you're sad, when you have anxiety, Tori has figured parts of this out.
Yeah, not all of it.
But how is it that you've come to terms to be so self-aware that you have a process for this?
Mhm. That's a really good question. I think I've always had some pretty intense self-awareness. Again, I think it's a lot of it in conversations I've had with people that a lot of it does stem even from bullying, which is a horrible thing to come off of, but awareness of situational awareness, as well as like what you're contributing to a situation or being aware of other people, can also be a reflection of you, of like, oh, how am I in this moment? Like, how can I diffuse things? How can I not even, again, it sucks, but how can I detract? How can I make myself smaller? And that comes from knowing you. And now I've done the opposite of that. But I also really, this is going to sound crazy, but I welcome a lot of feedback in my life. And I think that that's really important. That's not something that we often do, because critique is seen as a bad thing, or confrontation or something like that. And so some of the feedback that I've always heard was, I used to talk over people. I used to do, because I was always really excited. That's a really big part of me, right? I'm always really excited, and I have something to say, and
Sometimes it's just gotta
it's
come
just gotta come out.
Yeah.
But that's not how conversations usually go, or how a polite conversation, or even like within friend groups, we do, you do that all the time.
Oh yeah.
But I think that I really just took a second and I learned to listen. And I have really interesting people around me, and maybe I'm not the most interesting person in the room. And I don't discount that I have cool things to say or that I'm excited about things, but like, I really love the flow of conversation. It's why I'm in communications. And so I love to understand people and really investigate. And I think how you contribute that is knowing yourself and really being able to, be there for the people in your life, or be, okay, let me back up, because okay.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So I used to live in Thailand for like a very short amount of time. Yep. Okay. I know, we need a whole nother podcast.
Okay, in the last 5 minutes, sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Let's talk about this.
Yep. And something that they always said that we heard a lot was selfness, which is not selfishness, and it's not selflessness, selfness, which is taking care of yourself, knowing yourself so you can show up for the people that you love and care about. And I hold that, and I learned that when I was 16 years old. And I hold that so close to my heart of it, because we're often told to give and give and give and give and give. But the only way I can show up is if I give to myself and know myself and understand my boundaries and my needs, my energy levels, all of that. And I think that starting with that, and then obviously all the other things that I've done, the therapy, the people that I have, all of these things, to know yourself is to know your truth and to be able to be those things for others. So selfness. Yep.
Is a theory of being so self-aware?
No, it's checking. Yeah, I guess so. It's checking in with yourself and mitigating your energy, making sure that you're not running yourself ragged, because how often, and especially in motherhood, and I'm so grateful for all of the mothers in my life, and I see every day, and how much is put out there, but it's like you have to, and it's so often considered selfishness, or like, oh, I have to keep going because I have to do these for my kids. And it's like, okay, but girl, you're gonna get sick. Take a second. It's okay if they miss this practice, or it's okay if you're not up. Take the 10 minutes when your alarm goes off. Take it. Okay, so you're a little late for the day. In the scheme of the whole thing, is it really gonna matter at the end of the day?
Yeah. Be grateful that you heard the alarm when you woke up today.
Sure, you heard the alarm. And that's the thing, is it's like, but take time for yourself and really explore who like you are. And the power of no. Like I'm a very social person, but I can tell you, being 34 now, my energy is just not the same. And I just say, like, you know what, I love you. I think that sounds amazing. I'm not going. But we'll catch up. Tell me all about it later.
Oh.
And you know what? Nobody gets that. Because they're all, it's that joke of like, oh, yes, they canceled plans.
Excellent. I didn't my pajamas back
Because
on.
we're all these finite little beings that have this much energy in a day.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay that we check in with ourselves and we say no to things and we have these boundaries and we put ourselves first sometimes.
What is your favorite way to put yourself first?
Oh, I love getting my nails done. It's a new thing. I just started this. It's good. Like, I had never done this my whole life. I got my first set of acrylics.
Beautiful.
Thank you. They're pointy and sharp,
I
like it. I feel very cool. But it's also caused some injuries. I'm not a graceful human being. But no, I take those times and I say, you know, like, I'm going to take a second. Like, I do a lot. I do a lot a day. I do a lot of work. I do a lot for people. Take a second and make it a habit. Make self-care a habit. And then you're taking the time. Do it with your girlfriends. Do it with my partner and I go and get pedicures together because he's got horrible feet.
Yeah.
He did construction, so and it's a thing.
It's a self-love thing. Yeah. It's a selfness thing.
Selfness thing.
So here's the question.
Yep.
What is one piece of advice that you would pass along to a woman of the Great Lakes Bay region?
Oh my goodness. One piece of advice. Girl, just love yourself fully and wholly, and love on your body and understand the amazing things that it does every day, and love your mind and how much you're processing and how much you're doing. Just love on yourself and don't be scared of it, because you give so much love out. It's okay.
Thank you.
Give yourself a hug.
Thank you. I will. Thank you so much for that piece of advice and for coming on. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Tori Hummelle, and that's what she said.